Hi everyone, I am Virginia Lerack and I did my first PowerPoint on the ethics and challenges of student behavior, the effective discipline for student learning, and implementing classroom behavior strategies to ensure students have an equal opportunity to learn. As educators, we all have an ethical obligation of classroom discipline. We need to have a good classroom discipline policy put into place, and that starts from day one. And that way it ensures that all students know where they're at within the classroom, what the expectations are, and the consequences for their actions. Now, I included this quote because I really enjoyed it. It says, "A teacher who spends large chunks of his or her time dealing with student discipline is not spending time on instruction. Inevitably, other students in a disruptive environment will suffer." And that's true. If there's other students that are disrupting the classroom, it's taking away from the teacher learning, and it's also taken away from the students being able to learn a specific lesson or whatever the materials the teacher is going over. Now, to get this PowerPoint started, I found this really funny little clip art. It says, "I know the kids don't like you and they pick on you, but you have to go to school. You're the teacher." And it's so true. As a teacher, I possess tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all cases, it is my response that decides whether a situation will be escalated or de-escalated, or a child humanized or dehumanized, and that all falls on the teacher with their discipline program, the policies that are put into place, and how they implement that within the classroom. Now, I decided to do my first PowerPoint on discipline within the classroom because within my own school district and at my school site, it is a huge, huge deal. We have a lot of discipline problems on our campus daily, and so I thought, well, I'm going to use some of that knowledge and put it into a PowerPoint and actually dive in deeper and learn more research that can maybe be brought to my school site, and maybe I could even educate some other teachers or even my principal on some of these new ideas that I came up with. So through my PowerPoint, I am in search of the well-managed classroom to bring equal learning opportunities for students. There are some key components to an ideal classroom that help manage behavior issues, and I came up with 5 that I think are very important in the classroom. The first one is organization, and because we are a big AVID school at my school site, that means we really, really focus on being organized. And so at the first grade level, what we do, any subject that we're working on, if the worksheet is not complete, then it needs to go into a color-coded folder. So any language arts that's not completed, it would go into a blue folder, and any math papers not finished will go into a red folder, and any social studies or science worksheets that are not complete or if we're still working on them would go into a yellow folder. So anytime each day throughout the day, if the students are not finished and we have extra time, they can pull those worksheets out to complete it. We have work in progress, and also we do 2 and 3 column notes, so we try and stay very organized with our note taking, which is also very huge. So having good organizational skills is super important in helping students manage their behavior in class because they know exactly where their things are at. They don't need to wander the room and look for them. It's right there in their desk. They're ready to go and they're trained on how to use that material. Another important part of classroom management are the rules. And I like to establish the rules from day one. And I like to set up just a few very meaningful rules to use within the classroom, and I reinforce those rules. And we talk about it in my first grade class. We make a little anchor chart where we all come up with the rules together. So it's a community. We work together, and then we all sign our names saying, yes, we will follow the rules, and we talk about what happens if we don't follow the rules. So rules are very, very important, and then we always give each other a lot of praise and encouragement to follow those rules, because we all have our bad days, but the encouragement is there also. That's part of the rule system. Another part of the management behavior issue wheel that I came up with was routines. And I think it's very important to have routines set up within the classroom the very first day of school as well. Students need to know where things are located in the classroom. They need to know where to get a new pencil and how to get it. Do they just get out of their seat, or is there a special little hand signal that they need to use in order to get that pencil? So basic routines within the classroom will help eliminate a lot of behavior issues. And those expectations by the teacher and the student, knowing those routines, cuts back on that. Another part of the wheel that I came up with, the management wheel, is discipline, and that goes along with the rules. So when rules are broken, what are the disciplines? What are the consequences to their actions? So those are established with the rules. If you break a rule, depending on how major or how minor it is, it could be a quick talk outside the door. It could be sent out of the classroom. It could be sent up to the principal's office. It could be a note home. So, and also on the flip side, discipline can be a very positive thing. Catch the student making good choices. Let them stand out. I have positive puffs in my class, which are little puff balls, and every time I catch them making good choices, and I usually pick several throughout the day, then they get to pick a little positive puff and put it in their jar. When they fill up a jar, they get a little treat. So they're always trying to please and get that positive reinforcement by the teacher. And the last part of my wheel is communication, which is huge at my school as well. And it's so easy to communicate with parents nowadays. I use what's called Class Dojo. I can instantly email a parent. I could give students points. I can let parents know how they're doing on a day-to-day basis, both negative and positive. It just reinforces that behavior. If the student is having some kind of issue that day, for whatever reason, I let the parents know, and they usually have a talk with them. The next day, they're back on track. Again, it could be a positive reinforcement as well, where the student is told, or the student is told how amazing they did that day, and then I let the parent know, and then they get the rewards both from the teacher and from their parent at home as well. So these are 5 key components of it, I think, of an ideal classroom. As much as teachers want to have good discipline in their classroom and have their students be very well behaved, there are some challenges that teachers face to make this possible. Some of them are poor leaderships within their school site, maybe their district, or an ineffective discipline policy. I remember going to a school my first year, and I had no idea what kind of discipline was in place, and it was never told to me. So I was definitely in the dark. So I think just having a good policy in play and presented by the administrators is a must for any school site. Also, our changing society, it's a challenge for teachers to have that fairness within the classroom. And you are not only just battling students, but you're battling parents and administrators as well. Parents don't always support you. They feel like their child's being bullied or picked on, that the teacher's actually the one to blame. We also have the zero tolerance policy in play. What's accepted at school, what's not. Students and teachers need to have a very clear vision of exactly what is accepted and what is not. And then the lack of support from parents or guardians, once again, like I mentioned, is not there. And then the legal fees. Teachers are afraid of what they could do within the classroom, what they can't do, or did they do too much? Are they going to be sued? So there's always that fear. So I did some research. According to a new report by the nonpartisan nonprofit Opinion Research, Organization, it's public agenda. Teachers too often must operate in a culture of a challenge and second guessing that is affecting their ability to teach and maintain order. So they're always questioning, can I do this? Should I not do this? They go to colleagues, what's right, what's not. They go to their union, I don't know what to do about this situation. They go to their principals. They don't have that clear vision. Nearly 8 in 10 teachers, or 78%, said students are quick to remind them that they have rights or that their parents can sue. So basically, the students are now getting in the teachers' faces and basically saying, I don't have to listen to you, I can sue. So there's a lot of disrespect going on, and that's becoming more and more of a problem within our school sites and within our classrooms. Nearly half of teachers surveyed, 49%, reported they have been accused of unfairly disciplining a student, and more than half of teachers, 55%, said that districts are backing down from assertive parents, and it's causing discipline problems in our nation's schools. And here's just a little quote that ties in with the last slide that I showed you. And basically, a few bad apples can ruin the whole bunch. So a few students with behavior problems in your class can take away from other students learning by being disrespectful, distracting them, and causing more trouble within the classroom so the teacher is not able to teach and other students are not able to learn. So what discipline strategy can we implement to improve classroom behavior? Here's Miss Muttner showing a few of her rules. Now I'm going to show you a few of my ideas. So doing my research, I found that there is a company out there and it's being used by a lot of schools in the United States. It is called Positive Behavior Intervention System Framework, or PBIS. And what this program is, it is a positive behavior intervention and support system for students. And what it does is teaching children to learn good behavior. And through the research, I've learned that you need to intervene early on behavior, and it's a multi-tiered system of research with a model of support, and it's a lot of decision making and problem solving involved, and it's also research based, and it monitors student progress, and it informs instruction, and there's a lot of data and decision making wrapped around it, and it's used for assessments for many different purposes. Through my research of PBIS, I've learned that there have been over 25 studies in peer-reviewed journals. There have been 3 randomized controlled effectiveness trials studied at the University of Nebraska, the University of Oregon, and Johns Hopkins University. There have been a broad range of implementers. It's mostly the typical school personnel, but it can be implemented with typical resources. And I know that it's implemented in schools across the United States, all the way from preschool age kids all the way to the high school level. Now, statistically, there's significant outcomes from this program. It's reduced problem behavior within the classroom and at school sites. It's increased pro-social behavior. More students are joining clubs, they're joining sports, they're becoming more involved. It's improved emotional regulation. There's less fights, there's less outbursts, there's just less emotion coming from students from the past. There have been improved academic achievements. Students who have been on this program, their grades are actually going up. There have been improved perceptions of school safety. Students that are not in the program are feeling safer on campus. Students that are in the program feel like they have better control over themselves. And there have also been improved organizational health. These students that are enrolled in this program are actually, the attendance is up. They are missing less school. They come to school on time. So it's a win-win type of program. Now within the PBIS framework, there is a program called Check In, Check Out. And it's a program that is improving student behavior. And what you do as an educator is you decide which student needs that intervention. And you enroll that student into this Check In, Check Out program. And then you will establish what you want that child to work on specifically. Is it safety? Is it respect? Is it responsibility? Is it yelling out in class? Is it fighting? So the teacher decides. And through the program, data is collected and it will track the results of the student on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and a monthly basis. And it informs parents. Again, it could be daily, weekly, monthly. And it also ups the positive interaction with the student. Here's a sample of the check-in, check-out implementation cycle. So with the purple at the top, a student is recommended for the check-in, check-out program, and they're given a little card. And on the card, it targets what area that they are specifically working on. And there's numbers on there from 0 to 2, 0 being not good, 2 being excellent. They get points by the end of the day. And it's not just from the teacher, it's every adult on campus. It could be the librarian, the cafeteria worker, the campus supervisor. So if this child that is enrolled in this program is walking down the hall, the campus supervisor sees this person walking down the hall doing a good job. They can say, hey, get at your card. I'm giving you a 2. You did an awesome job. And they circle it, initial it. By the end of the day, you can kind of see with the yellow, they check in the morning, and the regular teacher, they check back. By the afternoon, they finally check out and they turn in their card. And the campus supervisor is given that little card or the summary of the day, and it's implemented into or inputted into a computer, and they track the data each day to see how that student did throughout the week. And it could be bi-weekly, it could be monthly, but it's a great way to track student progress. It's a great tool to have for parent-teacher conferences or even interventions if a student needs to be recommended for another classroom, like special ed class. You have that actual concrete data to help support you and that student on their behavior, and they're also accountable for their actions throughout the day. And it's a student that will not be in there forever. Once they get back on track and they do a good job, they can exit the program. Now you can see on the blue chart that in 2000, only a few hundred schools were using the PBIS check-in, check-out system. But in 2017, over 25,000 schools have implemented this program across the nation, and it's also saving a lot of money. For every $1 spent implementing PBIS, there are $105 in savings from reducing school dropout. So it is definitely improving on behavior. Students want to stay in school and learn, and it's really saving schools and districts a lot of money. The top 4 pictures are what I use in my district, and in my classroom I use ClassDojo to help track student behavior, and it's a good way to communicate with parents. I use community circles within my classroom. A school counselor comes in every other week. We sit around in a circle and we get to talk about our feelings, and we open up about things that bother us. So that really helps kind of downplay a lot of behavior and gets us to open up about our feelings. Another one is a little color-coded card, so I can easily track how a student is doing throughout the day, and they can visually see as well how they're doing with their behavior, both positive and negative. And Aries, that tracks their attendance and their tardies. And parents can also log in and see how their student is doing academically and with attendance as well. And the very bottom is the check-in, check-out little form. It's a sample, and you can just kind of get an idea. You can tailor it to any student and any target area that they need to work on, 0 being the lowest, 2 being the highest, and each day they tally up the points. And this is a system that is really proven across the nation to become very effective within school sites. So to end my presentation tonight, I just want to say that safety, engagement, connectedness, support, and communication are all really key factors to have within your classroom and on your school site to have a good discipline policy put into place so all students can learn and to keep that discipline to a minimum. And our goal as educators are to be effective teachers, but it starts with an effective discipline policy and good classroom management. Thank you.